We will see about the topic supply chain management. Introduction. In 1982, Keith Oliver, a consultant at Booz Allen Hamilton, introduced the term supply chain management to the domain in an interview for the Financial Times. Supply chain management is the handling of the entire production flow of good or service, starting from the raw components all the way to delivering the final product to the consumer. It's nothing but the management of the all activities starting from the raw materials or raw components till the um, till the process uh, which is the products to the consumers. Definitions: the management of upstream and downstream value-added flow of materials, final goods, and related information among suppliers, company, resellers, and final consumers. It is designed as the design, planning, execution, control, and monitoring of supply chain activities with the objective of creating net value, building a competitive infrastructure, integrating overview logistics, synchronizing supply, demand, and measuring performance globally. Supply chain activities are nothing but the each and every activity involved in the supply chain management. According to the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals, CSCMP, supply chain management encompasses the planning and management of all activities involved in the sourcing, procurement, conversion, and logistic management. Supply chain management requires the supply and demand management within and across companies. The, what is the aim and mission of the supply chain management? Supply chain management techniques with the aim of coordinating all the parts of supply chain from supplying raw materials to the delivering or reception of products tries to minimize the total cost with respect to existing conflicts among chain partners. If we manage to minimize the products or losses between the pathway, then we will be able to reduce the overall cost, overall amount involved. We will see what are the core ideas on which ACM is made of. ACM based on two core ideas. We will see one by one. The first is practically every product that reaches the end user represents the cumulative effect of multiple organizations. These organizations are referred collectively as supply chain. Uh, this is discussed earlier. This supply chain activities are the each and every process or each and every steps at which a product undergoes a change or which the second idea is that while supply chains have existed for a long time, most organizations have only paid attention to what happening within their four walls. Then we will see a difference about supply chain and supply chain management. A supply chain is the network of individuals, companies, resources, activities, and technologies used to make or sell product or services. SCM oversees each touch point of a company's product or service from the initial creation to the final sale. So, supply chain is the process or individuals or anything, but SCM is just the management of that activity. Supply chain starts with the delivery of raw materials from supplier to manufacturer and ends with the delivery of finished product or service to the end consumer. With so many places along the supply chain that can add value to efficiencies or lose value to increase expenses, proper ACM can increase revenues, decrease cost, and impact company's bottom line. It oversees the process and delivers desired process. Then we will see physical flows and information flows. The organizations that make up the supply chain are linked together through physical flows and information flows. Physical flows. Physical flows involve the transformation, movement, and information of the wood and materials. They are most visible piece of supply chain. This process or this step of physical flows can be visibly seen. Uh, then we'll see the information flows. Information flows allows the various supply chain partners to coordinate their long-term plans and use the control to day-to-day flow of goods and materials and up and down the supply chain. These are the information involved in the back of the supply chain. It cannot be visually seen. There are five components in the supply chain management. They are planning, sourcing, manufacturing, delivery, and logistics and returning. Planning. Plan and managing all resources required to meet customer demand for company's product or services. When the supply chain is established, determine metrics to measure whether the supply chain is efficient, effective, delivers the value to customers, and meets company goals. It's a very important steps in the supply chain management. Sourcing. Choosing suppliers to provide goods and services needed to create the product. It's important to select the suppliers or the persons who will supply or mediate the process of moving our products to the consumers. Then the established process to monitor and manage supply relationship. Key processes include ordering, receiving, managing inventory, and authorizing supplier payments. The third component is that manufacturing. It is nothing but the uh, manufacturing of the products. Organizing the activities required to accept raw materials, manufacture the product, test for quality, package for shipping, and schedule for delivery. The fourth component is that the delivery and logistics. Coordinate customer orders, schedule deliveries, dispatch loads, invoice customers, and receive payments. These are the steps involved in this component. And the last component is that the returning. It includes the creating a network or process to take back defective, excess, or unwanted products. It's like a quality check steps in the management of supply chain. We'll see what is the function of the supply chain management. Supply chain management is a cross-functional approach that includes managing the movement of raw materials into an organization, internal processing of materials into finished goods, and the movement of finished goods out of the organization and towards the consumer. It's nothing but the uh, managing all the activities from movement of goods from the consumer to the consumer, or between the organizations, or from the organization to the consumer. As organizations strive to focus on core competencies and become more flexible, they reduce ownership of raw materials, resources, and distribute channels. These functions are increasingly being outsourced to other firms that can perform the activities better and more cost effectively. The effect is to increase the number of organizations involved in satisfying customer demand while reducing the managerial control of daily logistics operations. Less control and more supply chain partners lead to the creation of concept of supply chain management. The purpose of supply chain management is to improve the trust and collaboration among supply chain partners. So the main purpose of the supply chain management is that the uh, managing the managing process involved in supply chain, and people are involved in the each of the each of the steps in the supply chain. We will see what is supply chain resilience. An important element of the SCS is supply chain resilience. It is defined as the capacity of supply chain to process, adapt, or transform in the face of the change. It's nothing but the inertia at which supply chain works, or also we can say that how far as supply chain can manage a problem. For a long time, an interpretation of resilience in the sense of engineering resilience prevailed in supply chain management, leading to the notion of persistence. A popular implementation of this idea is given by the measuring the time to survive and time to recover of the supply chain, allowing to identify weak points in this system. The supply chain is allowed to deteriorate, and the time to survive and time to recover are calculated, then concluded as the supply chain resilience. What is the importance of supply chain management? Effective supply chain management systems minimize cost, waste, and time in the production cycle. SCM important for the organization learning. Firms with geographically more extensive supply chains connecting diverse trading clicks tend to become more innovative and productive. Supply chain management draws heavily from the areas of operation management, logistics, procurement, and information technology, and shapes from integrated approach. Supply chain management works on different different places and different ecosystems. It can be applied everywhere and anywhere. Strategies for effective supply chain management: identifying the potential problems, optimizing price dynamically, improving the allocation of available to promised inventory. So, if we identify the problems at regular interval and at correct time, we'll be able to uh, maintain the smooth chain. And if you uh, fix the price at a optimal level, it will be able to move freely in the market, and the consumers will like to buy it. We will see the strategies one by one. First, identifying the potential problems. When the customer orders more product than the manufacturer can deliver, the buyer can complain of poor service. The manufacturer can't produce a required amount, the consumer can complain of the shortage of products. Through data analysis, manufacturers can be able to anticipate the shortage before the buyer is disappointed. So, if we calculate the data or the data of previous year, the manufacturer can easily obtain how much we have to produce. Optimizing price dynamically. Seasonal products have limited shelf life. As, as you know, like fruits, their their lifetime is very less. So at the end of the season, the products are typically scrapped or sold at their deep discounts. Airlines, hotels, and other perishable products typically adjust the price dynamically to meet the demand. So if the products are about to meet their end of the lifetime, so the prices are fixed accordingly. Improving the allocation of available to promised inventory. Analytical software tools help to dynamically allocate the resources and schedule work based on the sales forecast, actual orders, and promise delivery of phenomenon details. So, because of the data and the information available, they can be able to allocate the resources effectively. The manufacturers can confirm product delivery date when the order is placed, and then significantly reducing the incorrectly filled orders. Uh, we will see how is supply chain management helped in the COVID pandemic. The importance of supply chain management proved a crucial thing in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic that swept across the world. During the pandemic period, governments in the countries which had an effective domestic supply chain management and had enough supplies of medical things to support their needs and enough to donate the surplus to the frontline workers in other jurisdictions. Some organizations were able to quickly develop foreign supply chains in order to import much needed medical supplies. The supply chain management or supply chains are worked effectively, which led them to uh, send and receive medical supplies at correct time, which help them to save a lot of lives, including the frontline workers. These are the references I have took. Thank you.